Welcome to Cycle Touring Moselle to Mozart. This probably isn't the video you expected, but part 3 of the video was interrupted by the line fire which forced us to evacuate for 8 days. But we're back home now, so I'll get right on it. Here we are leaving our wonderful hotel in Rothenburg, where we've spent a lovely rest day, just being tourists. Sometimes it's nice just to be a tourist. Our legs are recovered, our bicycles are tuned up, and we're raring to go. Today is 60 miles with 1,600 feet of climbing. It's a pretty flat day. I'm not sure why we're pushing our bikes. These cobbles look perfectly good to me. Lord knows we've had practice riding on worse.
Ooh, oh, gobbly.
Wow, you're riding already. Let's go see these films.
It rained quite heavily last night. In fact, we were a bit worried we'd get rained on this morning, but it stopped raining about 30 minutes before we started. Talk about lucky. Yay, smooth pavement. Smooth but wet. So about 5 minutes out of Rothenburg, we're on a bike path already. Now we've reached one of the climby bits, and I can hear Adrian behind me.
Looks like a right turn.
The two ladies on duty in that hotel were both very, very good. Yeah, they were both lovely.
Left. Okay, looks like it goes up.
Oh, still up. Careful, Adrian, it looks deceptive. What do you mean it looks deceptive?
Not as steep as they.
It looks very apple-y too. That's not on the map, that should be on the map.
The apples. The wasps inside the apples eating it.
And the soft squishy apples on your tyres.
I've seen as many wasps for a long time.
Oh, this has got to come off. Hey. Good God. Yep. Getting a bit warm, isn't it?
Very warm.
We're about here. It's around 12%. So we finished the ride in Weissenberg in Bayern, staying in the Wittelsbacher Hof. We had a nice group meal that evening, very sociable, very nice food. Tomorrow we're riding 75 miles with 3,500 feet of climbing, so it's time to get some sleep. As you can see, most of the climbing today is in the first half. By the time we reach the Danube Canal at about mile 40, it's pretty much flat after that. Wow, look how fast the tandem pulls away from me downhill. Of course, at the very next hill I caught right back up with them. I think that was Owen showing us how we should be climbing. You know, just in case we'd forgotten. Closely followed by his dad on the e-bike, showing us why we should own an e-bike. Now every morning the guys write out salient information for the day's ride on a whiteboard. And you might think that you can just memorize it, but you can't. You're going to forget. So it's a good idea to take a photograph. So if you can't find lunch or brew stop or the hotel, you can just look at the photograph. Well, I guess I'll see them again at the next hill.
Yeah, I know Sweden does a similar thing with midsummer.
So here's an interesting question. When your drone is configured to stay 20 feet in front of you, how do you recover it? As you walk towards it to pluck it out of the air, it backs up. Well, Hover Air have an interesting solution. You simply beckon, and the drone recognizes your gesture and moves towards you.
never stop till Austria.
Hey Harry, it's good to see you. So the rest of the ride was pretty uneventful, flat, very nice. And we found a nice pizza place to eat at that evening. Take a look at this pizza. You can't see the plate until you've started eating the pizza. And yes, those are fried eggs on top. And yes, it's brilliant. Now, eating out in Germany is slightly cheaper than eating out in Southern California. But what's interesting is you're not expected to tip. You really are not expected to tip. If you think the service was outstandingly good, you can tip up to 10%, but nobody tips more than 10%. And even that's unusual.
I just need to.
Between 5 and 6.
Right, yeah, sure. At the brew stop, I will put on some cream.
Yeah. Okay.
So today's route is really lovely. It's about 62 miles, 100 kilometers, with about 1,200 feet of climbing, mainly alongside the Danube, with a big surprise at the end. We start the day by crossing the Danube on this traffic-free bridge.
So here we are crossing the Danube as we start out in the morning.
So our first stop today at mile 7 was Valhalla. Yes, Valhalla. It's a heck of a climb up to Valhalla. The guide stopped and looked after our bikes while we climbed up there. It must have taken at least 10 minutes to climb all the way. But when we got to the top, the view was pretty amazing. And when you got to the top, you could go inside, and for about €5, you could look at statues of famous German people. I chose not to. I think the ladies are looking for a restroom. That was a constant problem on this trip for them, just not enough restrooms. And when you did find one, it often cost money to get in, so it's a good idea to carry some small change with you. I remember at one restroom, and one of the cleaning ladies had wedged the door open. And she would take the money from you, providing change if necessary. Quite a useful service. I'm pretty sure she was pocketing all of it though. I don't care. There's some good entrepreneurial thinking there. Now we spent quite a lot of time riding alongside the Danube, as you saw from the map. Oh right, yeah, this map. But we didn't see much of the Danube because we weren't riding on top of the dikes. The trail up there is dirt and we stuck to the pavement. So we may not have seen that much of the Danube, but we still had some wonderful scenery. So what's the surprise, I hear you ask? Well, we're staying in a Benedictine abbey. It's been beautifully refurbished. In fact, they're still working on parts of it, as you can see.
Right, where are you? This is not right. There you are. Hey Jeff. Oh, you've been here long enough to start helping out.
So I was expecting a stone bed and a bench with a hole in it for the toilet, but it was quite a lovely room. I reckon the monks these days have it pretty good. But the best thing about the abbey was the honour system for buying alcohol. You grab a beer and put €2 in the box. At €2, it's not even worth stealing the beer, plus there's the chance of being struck by lightning if you do. It looks like I'm the second to arrive after Jeff. Nobody arrives before Jeff, not even the guides. Day 11 is another fairly flat day, although my GPS unit crapped out between Passau and Inzell. Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it, but anyway, I probably came up a few miles short. So somebody had asked what's the difference between an abbey and a monastery. And it turns out that an abbey and a priory are two types of monastery. An abbey is led by an abbot, and a priory is led by a prior, and an abbot outranks a prior. However, they both contain monks, which is why they're called monasteries. At Passau, some of us got onto one of those river boats and took a leisurely 10-mile cruise up the river. Here's Nick relaxing, and here's some ice cream that I had. It was quite lovely. Now the trip was optional. You could cycle the same distance if you wanted to. It was actually faster to cycle, but it was a lot of fun on the boat and it changed things up a bit. I really enjoyed it. Now here's the group at the second brew stop, and you can barely see the van. In fact, I overshot it and had to double back. I think this is JD and Allison arriving. I'm not totally sure. No, actually it looks like they're preparing to leave, which makes sense because they're faster riders than me. And when the drone is in hover mode, you correct it simply by putting your hand underneath. And in no time at all, we're at the Gasthof, which is right on the Danube and in the middle of nowhere. So this is the end of day 11 and the end of this video.